Hello my dear sewing friends. Today I want to take you on a journey together with me, explore something new and try block printing. By now you have seen me use natural dyes like onion skins and avocado pits, and then we did some ice dye, and I even painted my own fabric, but never have I created design on textile using wooden blocks and natural ink. So this is definitely the first. So I went ahead and I ordered a kit that included a cushion, fabric for block printing, the blocks themselves, ink and thread, and that kit has been waiting for this day since December. That's right, so we're doing it. From the little that I know, it's safe to assume that this is probably going to be a pretty messy endeavor. That's the reason I'm wearing my craft apron, but I also have to prepare my work surface. The instructions said to layer 2 to 3 fabrics onto your printing space to create a slightly cushioned surface. So that's what this is for. And then this is a scrap piece of fabric to absorb any of the paint that might seep through. I've put like an extra thing of old drafting paper over here just in case. All right, what now? And the first step for me is to test it out and to see what kind of design I want, what is it that I'm going for, how much pressure to apply. And I have these 2 blocks over here, so I have to decide how I want to arrange them on my fabric. Before diving in, I did a little bit of research, and it appears that when you are doing block printing on fabric, you are essentially creating a repeat pattern where precision definitely matters. Therefore, I decided to start with a simple grid. Breaking the blank page. It's always a little scary no matter what I do, but we will know until we try, right? So we gotta do it if we want to see what's waiting for us on the other side. So I'm gonna try it on a piece of paper first and see where it takes us. Now apparently this is a handmade ink. So I've never worked with something that was handmade. Wow, look at that. I'm gonna try the brush first, and then if that doesn't work out, we'll try the sponge. Not the best. Oh, this one is so much better. Okay, I think we can all agree that sponge is definitely the way to go. After the first initial failure and then some following successful attempts, I finally mustered some creative courage. I busted out some fabric scraps, which we all know I absolutely love working with, and I started to experiment. And from that, I quickly learned that it's a lot of fun. Now, the instructions said that depending on the amount of ink, the thickness, and how long you let it dry for, the color will change as well. So that was a really new and exciting thing for me. I think I'm very slowly getting the hang of it, but I think I'm moving in the right direction. First, I tried it on the scraps of white linen, and after I let the ink dry, to my surprise, it was actually pretty smooth. It didn't feel cakey, it didn't feel stiff, and it didn't make the fabric feel heavy, like for example, acrylic paint mixed with fabric medium would. So I didn't want to stop there. I wanted to try and see how block printing with this particular ink would look on rib knit. And then I tried it on white t-shirting, and here I tried it on a colored cotton poplin. So at this point I have stamped out multiple designs. I'm just not entirely sure which one I like the best. I can also do one design on one side, the other design on the other side. I know for a fact that I'm not a fan of the circle block, but maybe it's just a matter of how I'm going to arrange those details on the pattern itself. Speaking of the project, the kit included 2 pieces of fabric. Each one of them I would need to cut down to 14 inches by 14 inches to make 2 squares each side of the cushion. So here I started with exactly the same thing that I did during my trials. First, I made out a grid. Then I did stare at it for a little while. And once I felt courageous enough, I went ahead and I block printed away. for quite some time, and at the end I decided not to mix the blocks in one design. So I decided to do one side just with this little floral block and the other side with the circle one. The process itself was not difficult at all, just a little bit time consuming, but very meditative, because all you're focusing in that very particular moment is about stamping your designs, and that pretty much consumes your whole mind and whole being, and I thoroughly really enjoyed it. After the ink was dry, the instructions said to heat set it at 160 degrees Celsius for about 2 minutes. And it also noted to keep moving the iron not to scorch the fabric. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. Alright, now that the fabric is heat set, the last and final step is to actually put it together into a cushion cover, which, as you know, will go very quickly. But I also have a ton of these little tester scrap fabrics left, so I'm kind of starting to think, what else can I use them for something that I actually need at this very moment. So we shall see. The first step for completing the cushion was to cut down the fabric to the appropriate size. And you know what? Once I started working, I completely zoned out and I forgot to use the organic cotton thread that they sent in the kit to use for this cushion. Oh well, I will use it anyhow. And in about 30 minutes, it was done and it was ready. Now onto those fabric scraps. Because I did have to cut down the fabric, I didn't have much left, but I had enough in order to make something. So I thought, well, if I tidy up these little strips and if I combine them together, I can actually make a really cute little zipper pouch. I brained over a little bit what would be the best way to combine these fabric scraps so that way they look somewhat cohesive. Then of course I dug out a little piece of fabric scrap for the lining of the pouch, a zipper, and a little bit of interfacing, and I got to work. Now because this was so special, I thought, you know what, let's make this the best zipper pouch that there could be. So I bound the seams on the inside with the bias tape. I also added this sweet little tag on top of it that says "Stitched with Love." By the way, if you need some customized labels, I do have a 15% discount code from where I get my labels, and I will leave that for you guys in the info box underneath this video. After that, I gave this pouch a little flat bottom and finished it up. Now, what do we have over here? Of course, a block printed cushion, all made up. There we go. And of course, this little zipper pouch that was made from the very last bits of fabric that were left over from the first project. Now, I gotta say, block printing is definitely a very different technique from painting your own fabric, which I did right over here when I was making my own shoes. But each one of these techniques definitely gives you a very different sense of appreciation of the fabric, because not only you're working with the fabric, you're also creating the design on the fabric. So it's more near and dear to your heart, more thoughtful, more creative. And with that, I truly wish that this video will inspire you to try something new and different. Happy sewing!